Hey guys, it's Spyros from the Self-Help Photographer. It is 6 below zero outside in my studio, which you know that's like cold. So guess what? We moved recording into the house where I'm standing right by the heat vent, right behind me. Today I'm going to answer a couple questions about lenses. We're talking a lot about lenses lately. And then, since we're talking about lenses, we're going to talk about manually focusing our lenses. For the first question, Terry wanted to know what all-around lens she should get for her D7000 camera. And my favorite all-around lens, my go-to, in fact the lens I'm using to record this video right now, is the Tamron 17 to 50 millimeter f2.8 lens. Really great lens. You can pick it up for about $425. It's fast. It's got an f2.8 aperture, which is a nice wide aperture. It's a sharp lens. I just love shooting with it. The focal length is nearly identical to the lens you get with your kits when you buy your cameras, that 18 to 55 millimeter lens. But this one is faster with that f2.8 compared to the typical f3.5 to 5.6 variable aperture that you get with those kit lenses. Now your shooting preference will dictate what is your perfect all-around lens, but for a general walking around lens, this Tamron 17 to 50 millimeter, it's a great lens. Go for it. Phil wanted to know what a great macro lens for winter would be, and he's shooting with a Nikon D90, and the Tokina 100 millimeter macro f2.8 lens is a great macro lens. Now, macro for winter there isn't really a lens that's good for macro for winter. Rather, it's just whether or not you need a good macro lens and what focal length is good for. I talked about this in the macro video, so real brief, you want to know what you got to shoot when you're shooting macro. If you're shooting things that move, you'll probably want a longer focal length like that 100 millimeter because you don't have to get as close to your subject. Nikon has the Tokina, Canon has a 60 millimeter and 105 millimeter macro lens. There are good macro lenses out there, and typically what you want to look for is how fast it focuses, how sharp the glass is, and what the maximum aperture is. And f2.8 is a nice wide aperture. The Tokina gets great reviews. Good lens. One that's worth picking up, Phil. Since we've been talking about lenses and talking about shooting, the subject of focusing has come up. And today we're going to talk about manually focusing our lenses. See, all of our cameras are designed to autofocus. Just like everything else on our cameras is designed to happen automatically. But we're here to learn how to take control of our camera and make it work the way we want to. And I don't know about you, but I've had plenty of times where my camera has focused on what I didn't want it to focus on. It's automatic. It thinks it knows what you should focus on, but it isn't always right. To really improve your photography and take control, you want to learn how to manually focus your lens. There are actually two ways that you can avoid having the camera focus on what you don't want it to focus on or what you do want it to focus on. We're going to talk about manually focusing today, and then we'll go back to autofocus next week and learn how to make the camera focus on what we want it to focus on. Now, switching to manual focus is super easy to do. In fact, all you got to do is literally flip a switch. Let's take a look at my 50 millimeter lens. As you can see on my 50 millimeter lens here, I've got a switch that says AF and MF. It's currently in autofocus, and that means the camera and the lens are going to work together. When I switch it to manual focus, of course, then I am in control and I get to do all of the work. Nikon shooters that have a D90, D7000, or a full frame Nikon camera that has a focus motor in the body will also have to flip the switch on the camera body from autofocus to manual focus. You have two switches to flip. Everybody else, all you got to do is worry about the one on your lens. Now, once you've put the lens into manual focus, you'll notice that you can take the focus ring and spin it. Now, I'm not zooming the lens when I do this, although it looks like I'm zooming the lens. I'm simply focusing the lens. When you're taking a picture in manual focus, not only do you have to zoom your lens if it's a zoom lens, and this is a fixed focus lens, this is a 50 millimeter, you also have to set the focus. So the first thing you're going to want to do is look through your lens and find what you're focusing on and frame your shot, zooming or moving your lens in and out. The next thing you're going to do is actually focus on the subject using your focus ring. It's a two-stage process. This is definitely going to slow down your photography when you start. A good way to practice and get good at manually focusing your camera and to get fast at it is to pick a street that is fairly busy, but not a super high-speed street. You don't want to pick a highway. 25-mile-an-hour road. set yourself up, not on a day when it's 6 degrees below zero outside, not today, and manually focus on the license plates of the cars as they're driving away from you and driving towards you. The letters, the text on the plate will be easier for you to see when it's in focus or out of focus, but the fact that the subjects are moving will make you work harder and get faster at manually focusing. This is critical because once you master this, boy, you're never going to have any trouble manually focusing at all. This is a great tip that I found on a forum somewhere. I can't remember where. I read it a long time ago. But it's a really great thing that you can do. A couple of important things to do. Clean your glasses if you wear them. Make sure the diopter on your camera in your viewfinder is focused before you start trying to manually focus, because if that's not focused properly for your view, you're going to get a bad focus. So on your viewfinder there's a little teeny dial that you can move around, and that actually focuses your viewfinder so that when you're looking at the scene it is as sharp as it is supposed to be. Alright, that's all I've got for you guys this week. Now, if you have any photography questions that you want answered, email them to Spyros@selfhelpphotographer.com or visit the Facebook page, facebook.com/selfhelpphotographer, and post your questions there. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and get out there and take some damn photos in manual focus. Then post them to the Facebook page. I'll see you guys next week. Oh, my beard is glorious. It keeps my face so warm.